they've come from villages, they don't have food, they don't have
Yeah.
shelter, they want to do bakery and we have, stuff like that. So they kind of have this, like a guru as in like someone like a mother who's to look after and, put them into sex work.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. Today we have with us a very special guest, Miss Nitasha Biswas. Nitasha is an actor, she's a model, she's a transgender campaigner, and she is the winner of India's first transgender beauty pageant. She's also represented India in competitions like Miss International Queen. One thing that Karan and I admire about her the most is how she's dealt with having a marginalized identity in a backward society with such grace and her unwillingness to be anything except loud and proud. Natasha, it's lovely to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for calling me and for this wonderful time. And I'm glad that I'm chatting with you guys.
Hi, Natasha. Thank you for being on the podcast. To start the podcast, I'd like to know about the first time when you realized that you wanted to be a woman, and how old were you, and what was that experience like?
Well, thank you, Karan, for the question. So I think like this that life is a journey, right? Life is a journey for everyone. For like how you have your journey, I have my journey.
Yeah.
Jay has his journey, and everyone who's in the part of the segment of humanity has a journey, right? So I was very young. I remember like I'm from Kolkata. I'm from Kolkata. I was in school St. Xavier's Calcutta doing my class 7 standard. So I remember coming out to my elder brother and saying that I was Googling. I mean, I remember that in Cal Tiger was one of the internet services we had in Calcutta way long ago. So getting to know that, we have access to internet, that is access to knowledge. So, I started Googling about people and I realized at a very young age that it's like how someone is told to be in certain norms and regulations, but that is not what you are.
Yeah.
So a jail, basically.
Yeah. You must be around 7, 8 years old then.
Probably, yeah, like probably from the time where the millennial ages start. I think during that time, really young, yes.
Yeah. And I think right from an early age, that pressure starts to come off. Society expects you to fit in a template. And if you stray from the template, then all hell breaks loose.
Absolutely. The kind of, like this so called society, as we all are into, society has the rules and regulations, and that is exactly how we as mankind as a whole we are moving, right? So I feel that anything that you want to do which is against the norms becomes a taboo.
Yeah.
So me being a gender dysphoria at a very young age, I wanted to like just be myself. I'm not harming anyone. I'm not stealing from anyone. I just want to live my identity. That is my true identity of who you are as a person. Like how Karan said that she's a singer. So his identity of being a singer. How you are, being a counselor. So your identity as a counselor,
Yeah.
you're living a life. So exactly that is what I was doing, living my life.
Correct.
Although I'm curious, Natasha, when these feelings came, how did you deal with them initially? And how did your idea about these feelings change over time?
Well, you know what? Like being a gender dysphoria is a very, it's like a journey in the turbulent sea, right? I'll put it like that, because it's like it's a lot to do with the mind first before you have your surgeries and everything is much later part. But initially, it's all about understanding your mind, understanding yourself, understanding your soul.
Yeah.
You know, so I always call that I was a woman with a history. My war for all my trans sisters would be this, that we have to live our life as we are, and it's all to do with the mind. Like you don't feel to do this, but you're told to do that every morning when you wake up. You ought to go and probably play football, go to play with boys, which is a part of everyone's life, of course. I've had like guys who were my friends that time initially, but it's just a situation.
Yeah.
It's the soul and your body has to meet at a point to be called who you are.
Mm.
So, Natasha, you mentioned a bit earlier how you came out to your brother, and I wanted to go a bit deeper into this. How did you come out to your brother? What was his reaction? And then how did you come out to the rest of your family?
So, like my elder brother, like I lost my mother when I was very young. I was
Hmm.
in I was in class 5 to 6. I just got promoted to sixth standard.
Hmm.
So it was quite a journey. It was
Hmm.
quite a journey because, losing one of my parents, that was my mother. So then coming out to my brother was huge. It's like I was very comfortable sharing with my brother, my elder brother. Why? Because he was quite friendly with me. He
Hmm.
was quite
Hmm.
friendly, and there was a lot of. I still remember, like I've been sharing this in a lot of my interviews, in my previous
Hmm.
journey interviews, where my brother gave me a first porn CD in class
Hmm.
seventh standard and said,
Yeah.
"You have to see these because it's important for you to understand what's a women anatomy, what's a
Yeah.
male anatomy." So no, he just
Hmm.
thought that maybe it's a phase of my life that
Hmm.
I wanted to change myself,
Hmm.
my gender. So he thought maybe I was little the kiddishness working on. Usually parents do think that it's a
Yeah.
very young problem, but then it's not.
Hmm.
Eventually I
Yeah.
realized that no, it's not a problem.
Yeah. And it's not a phase. It's who you
Of course,
are.
it's not a phase. I think it's
Exactly.
a beautiful journey,
Exactly.
and I just love it.
Yeah.
If you're in the right path.
Natasha, what advice would you give to those people who have trans friends or trans family members, and what can they do to support them?
So, you know what? It's a good question. Um, we are right now at the verge of colonizing Mars.
Hmm.
Almost Elon Musk is on its way to do this.
Yeah.
I always thought, and I think I even thought of this, like to tell in this further speeches, and I think I'll break this line over here
Hmm.
at you both show. That is,
Hmm.
I feel that I'm the biggest example of human evolution. All right.
Hmm.
And why do I call this? Because we as mankind, it's very important to evolve mentally and physically,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, because when we say we are at the verge of colonizing Mars,
Hmm.
where is the mindset? How we upgrade our iPhones every day, we
Hmm.
upgrade our phones, our stations every day.
Yeah.
Why can't people's mind be updated at the
Hmm.
same time?
Hmm.
You go to iPhone 13.2, 13.6,
Yeah.
minds are still stuck there.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
so that's so funny, and that is exactly, I will tell to all those parents, if you want your children to study well, you want your children to do well, upgrade your mind.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Let there be a
Yeah.
free society, a society where we all correlate and coexist with
Hmm.
one
Yeah.
another. You can be gay, you can be bisexual, you can be transgender, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
eyes, without legs, humanity is one community for me. I just say that there's no community we call it separate, as something that breathes is in the community. That's all
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'll say.
In fact, what you're saying reminds me of this phrase I've heard. We're living in space age times, but with stone age minds. Yeah.
I know this, we're already into this, and it's high time that this changes, and I hope it changes,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, we shall make sure it changes,
Yes.
you
Of
know.
course.
Natasha, people often assume that transition is just a physical process, but actually,
Right,
it's also a mental process, it's an emotional process. For those
right.
who are unfamiliar with this transition, could you take us through what it's like?
So, it's like, of course, I mean, it's like a journey, as I said earlier as well. So, um, transition is not just about having a surgery or being beautiful or being in the women body. Like for me, transitioning was always, I just wanted to be a dignified and a graceful woman.
Yeah.
That was my main aim, right?
Mhm.
I just knew that I was in the wrong body. I had to do certain norms and regulations and go through that process to be called myself or have a passport which said female,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So so there's physical transition. Along with that, when you're starting hormonal replacement therapy, it's a
Hmm.
huge mental bogging scene over there
Yeah.
because you know when a boy is born, you have your own testosterone's walking in the
Hmm.
body and everything. So you think like that, but
Hmm.
in human we all have a certain amount of estrogens
Hmm.
and testosterones. That is with feelings.
Hmm.
Estrogens provide feelings. Testosterones give
Yeah.
you give you the male parts of your body, right? The male
Hmm.
pleasure, like having hair and everything. So over here, I would say that that journey of HRT was very tough because I remember I was very cranky and
Yeah.
you just need what you want. If you want something, you want to do something, you want to do that, and it gets really tough.
Yeah.
And then goes on with your physical changes. You have your surgeries, and these days people are, I mean, that crazy that they'll do anything to look beautiful. Nose surgery, face feminization surgery. There's a lot of things are happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely has to be a very difficult process. But I think, could you talk about, the first time you saw yourself as a woman after you felt like you completely transitioned now, what did that feel like?
Well, that feeling. Um, the first time I remember when I got back home and I was not having, I mean, the bandages are off and you can walk around, you can talk and everything.
Mm.
I think that feeling is euphoria.
Yeah.
You know, the feeling of euphoria is too extreme to be explained because
Yeah.
it's just, it's
It's
like when you have some huge award for singing, the feeling is unexplainable that this is my hard work and I've done it.
it's a dream come true, yeah, right?
It's a dream come true or beyond. I said it's euphoria.
Okay.
And
Finding soul and body fit, like that
Right.
connection. Yeah, it's beautiful, and that is one beautiful transition and journey you've been on, Natasha. There's another journey that you've taken in parallel. I recall you've spoken candidly in your past about how you struggled with loneliness, how you struggled with feelings of depression. And I remember you saying it felt like being locked within four walls. And today I see a very different Natasha, one who is out and loud and proud. So could you maybe take us through the steps in this journey? How did this journey happen?
So, when I was young as well, I mean, I came from a government background. My father was a IAS officer, so we had that stick on our head of education and every time, all the time. So, I mean, it's all about how you are nurtured in the atmosphere when you're very young. So I thought that, like it's a very step. It's like, toddler step. You take one step where you want to do this. I remember following pageants at a very young age. I've been following Miss Universe, Miss World from a very, I think I've seen 80s as well, when Nafisa Ali was crowned. Like, of course the videos are not there, but you just hunt on them on various platforms.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to be a pageant girl because and I've worked behind the camera, of course. I've worked in Bengali behind the camera for Bengali artists from Tollywood. So from there to coming to Delhi to start my journey, from working from an e-commerce website to styling the model to coming in front of the camera was a journey itself. And then I saw about the pageant and I applied. I just gave my best. I just wanted to make friends. I never thought that I would win. I was there to make other friends from the different states, have some fun, have some jovial time. And 27th of August, I just got crowned, and that was a game changer for me.
But Natasha, during this process, was there a time when you felt like I don't need to hide this fact about myself? I rather have to come out and talk about it. Was there a moment like that?
I always thought this, like I always tell all my speeches that rejection, being having a closed door on the face is a part of life. It's okay to be rejected. It's okay to be, have a door slammed on your face. It's okay to be, people have called names or whatever. I've taken them as building steps of my success, right? If I would have thought that and had like, oh my God, why these people are calling me names? Why was I rejected from that venue? Because I wanted to be a part of them. It's all about, you take them, be optimistic about it. And I've turned them into my wounds turned into my strength, I would say. And here am I.
So it's actually quite ridiculous that society is not accepting of the LGBTQ community. I think it's changing a lot right now, but it's just ridiculous that why would there be any thought that you wouldn't accept this. Even for that matter, if you go to see Hinduism, there's so many references of transgenders in Hinduism.
Right.
We've also had Lord Vishnu transforming into Mohini, and we've seen many instances like that.
I was Mohini in my national costume.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damrit.
that's lovely.
So, of course, like you said, you went on to becoming India's first transgender beauty queen, and you've been actively campaigning for transgender rights ever since. But, Natasha, if I were to ask you, what are some things that we as a society need to change to help the community, what would they be?
You know, if you ask me that, we have a lot of things to change. Like lots of things has to change. I was in an Australian pageant where I was top five.
Hmm.
That was in Melbourne. That was last 2019, just before the pandemic. I was in Australia. So when I looked at them, it's all about. I believe in one thing, and that is look at people around us,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Look at the disclosure of people, how they hate each other,
Yeah.
starting with a male and a female, a transgendered woman, a trans man, a gay person, or a bisexual person. It's okay to be in a gender and just be who you are.
Yeah.
My thing is today, if I was suppose I see a straight man and a straight man doesn't want to sleep with a gay guy, it's okay. You don't have to be like bad or something. It's okay. People has the choices. How I'm wearing a like a green, a dark green, royal green
Yeah.
gown right now because I just wanted this to wear on
Hmm.
my body, right?
Yeah.
How you're like how Jay is wearing white, you're wearing black. It's your wish.
Yeah.
Nobody's pushing you to do something, right? So it's okay to give space and take space
Hmm.
because at this point of time if we talk about if I talk about my country, India is very. The other day, I was going to Manali, and I was telling my friends in the car that why the hell do we have you know temples every 1 kilometers? We are
Hmm.
such a religiously driven society.
Hmm.
Every 1 kilometer, I see one temple. Every 1 kilometer, I see something. Why? And that is the main reason that there's so much of difference amongst each other because it's a very personal belief. Someone who wants to believe this, if it's a very personal choice who wants to do that. So I say that give space. It's okay if someone wants to dress like that. It's all right. If you don't like it, find your way and go out. You don't
Yeah.
have to be and fit in there.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
A free
Yeah.
society.
So it's in fact also a lot of ignorance and misinformation, even when it comes to religion, because a lot of religions are accepting of this. It's just that people aren't aware and they form up their own opinions, and that's how they mess up society.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Religion has taken a very strong role here. And as you said, that if we talk about the history of transgendered women, it's like if we talk about the temple of Balushar, the
Hmm.
Balushar that is in Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
So, people have been there, right?
Correct.
Transgendered, women, gay kings, bisexual kings and queens, they've been there. So it's okay, so we have embraced that culture.
Yeah.
Where will all these come from if it was never there?
Absolutely.
You know, people want to believe that like Lord Parvati is there, Shiv is there, and everything. So these were from their era.
Hmm.
How did Vimana come out of Afghanistan's mountain?
Yeah.
Scientifically proven, right? Scientifically proven that Vimana flies. So that means they existed at one point of time. So it's just an era that have been. It's like how grandmothers have been passing their jewelry to one another. To the next generation, the crowns. That's
Hmm.
exactly what's happening here.
Yeah.
But it's us as humans who have we have engineered wrong.
Yeah.
We have
We,
engineered big time wrong. That's why we are facing COVID. We are facing everything.
Yeah.
yeah. We've engineered wrong. And there's misperceptions, there's transphobia, there's confusion. Specifically, though, Natasha, there's one confusion which I find people are often unaware of, and that is that there is a difference between the third gender, the Kinnar, the Hijra community, and transgender individuals. So, for our audience, could you clarify the difference between these two groups?
So initially when I was not that like when I was very young, so I was also not aware of the entire system and everything about this thing. But then eventually, to know something, to know the unknown, you have to dig into that place. You have
Yeah.
to be within that place and understand them, like who, what, where, what's the motive, what's in the mind. So what happens here is, I remember when I came to Delhi initially, and I heard of this place where the trans community or the Kinder community had they've come from villages. They don't have food. They don't have
Yeah.
shelter. They want to do beggary and we have stuff like that. So they kind of have this like a guru as in like someone like a mother who's to look
Yeah.
after, and put them into sex work, put them into
Mm.
sex work or something. It's like long ago, like
Yeah.
not anytime nearby, like it because initially it's like I'm talking about like 5 years back, really long.
Yeah.
So then I realized that why this entire system was happening because imagine like hypothetical situation,
Mm.
the male community, as suppose male as a community tomorrow doesn't have jobs,
Mm.
Mm.
women has jobs, just a situation I'm giving just for example.
Yeah.
So for the male community has they'll do anything to survive.
Yeah.
Mm.
You have to survive because you need money. End of the there's no free lunches in this world. You need you need to buy food, you need to pay for your bills, you need to pay for your shelter, everything you have to pay, has tax involved in it, right? So that is exactly has happened to them. Like they the family support has not been there because they have not been upgraded as I said, iPhone problem. They
Mm.
have upgraded their phones but not their mind. So it's very important that when a child like this is there,
Mm.
if you accept it. Now everything is interlinked here.
Yeah.
If the child is accepted from home, the child would not run away.
Yeah.
And if they would not run away, they do not have money for food and lodging, they
Mm.
go to these gurus.
Yeah.
This is the Kinder community. They
Yeah.
have these associations where they try to help and they just try to thrive the best way they can, right? So that is what then I realized. Like for me, I had it like for me, I'm the biggest example of having a journey of a woman. I
Mm.
always thought of a gender, so I've undergone my transition the way I wanted to be called as a woman. I wanted Miss or Ma'am. I wanted to be called as a Ma'am or Miss.
Yeah.
So that is what, and it's okay for people who are uh, the Kinder community as well if they have that kind of notions and they have their own rituals and everything to be there. It's okay to have it, which is from the past, religious beliefs once again.
Mm.
So that is the difference. But I always had a journey where I wanted to be a woman, and that's how it
Yeah.
is.
So I may be wrong here, but there's this thought that I have, which is that, if we are calling gays, lesbians, transgenders as the LGBTQ community, aren't we further separating them from society? Because, like you said, all of us are humans with different sexual preferences. Then why should there be a different LGBTQ community?
So that is what, I just don't know. Like my war right now is still with the same thing, and I will keep fighting for the same thing in the future as well. That I always tell in my TED talks that why do we have this community? Why? What are these community? You're separating. Imagine tomorrow if you have a singer who is a lesbian girl, won't you like sing with her? It's
Yeah.
okay to sing with a lesbian women. It's okay. It's okay to sing with a gay guy who's a very well
Yeah.
who sings well. So
Yeah.
why this gender plays a role? I
Yeah.
look, mankind as I look beyond caste, creed,
Yeah.
religion. You can be Muslim, you can be Hindu, you can be anything. Jew, it doesn't really matter. You
Yeah.
cut your hands, it's blood dripping, and it's red, not green or blue.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Absolutely.
When the world starts thinking in this ground, I think we can have a much more thriving society, and we can create cybertonics. Now, why? Now, what is cybertonics? I'm just like small line. I will say
Yeah.
we are their civilization has different um,
Level.
segments: class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4.
Mm.
We're in class 0 because mankind as a whole is fighting with each other.
Mm.
When we talk about cybertonics, it's about the entire mankind, be it any gender, is working towards one goal to go to class 2, the class
Leveling up.
3. So
Yeah.
that is how we will reach Mars faster than what we are. The rockets won't fall off again and again. I feel.
Yeah.
Natasha, what is your take on the transgender bill of 2019? Because there are many important issues. Some of them are good for the transgender community, but there are some major problems with it as well. So, would you like to
Right.
highlight the issues from the bill, and what are changes that you'd like to see in the bill?
Um, First of all, thanks to the government that they've taken this step.
Yeah.
At least, something, I know baby steps, but something had happened in the past. So
Right.
thanks for taking that little step.
Right.
But the bill, the bill had, of course, any bill has uh 75/30, 75/35, or like some changes. Some had good points where they have removed beggary, which is good. When beggary
Okay.
was removed, they
Yeah.
had other jobs. They had told every like the companies that come over to take more of transgendered women to start working.
Mm.
So what happens over there is like certain, like if there were 10 points, 5 is good, 5 is not good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what the problem I think the major people faced was when they removed beggary.
Mm.
Now I look at a world where even in Bombay, when I go or beat in Delhi, I don't want to see in the signals little kids,
Yeah.
transgender people, like begging for money. And
Right.
that, makes you feel bad. At
Mm.
times we do drive and we see at the women who is very old, we want to give money, but we feel like we should not, because there's so many things that goes on, because at the end of the day it's humanity.
Mm.
Yeah.
So over here I feel that the bill that they have removed beggary, they had a problem of a lot of people, the transgender community who are on the roads and do begging, and they earn their daily wages. They
Yeah.
had a problem, right? A certain segment. So if they had that during COVID, they had this 28,000 stimulation of money coming out from our finance minister and everything. This money coming out, that money coming out.
Yeah.
Where is the money for employment?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
say be self-reliant. Where is the self-reliance work that you're giving us?
Right.
Absolutely.
Tell those people, if like go and create segments, create departments where they will tell these people, come, we'll give you shelter. It hardly takes some money to create a single brick wall
Yeah.
and shelter above the head with
Yeah.
some food,
Yeah.
basic.
Yeah.
You just cannot just tell and just go vanish in thin air. When you say do it, when you're saying this, then do it. And that is exactly when I felt that as a whole, our government is taking step, but that is not enough, and that is where a lot of misinformation, information was there in the market. And other thing I would say that the surgery part, right? Like me, like I wanted to undergo the surgery, so I did it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other girls who want to do it. Let people who want to have the surgery, it's okay, let them have it.
Yeah.
People who do not want to have it, it's okay, also let them not have it.
Yeah.
Why are you forcing?
Exactly. And not
You
many
know,
can afford it even.
exactly. If you want people to have it, then give all. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Make it free.
Yeah.
17 lakh. How will people who are not fortunate enough, do not have money? How will they do it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to rebel.
No, I think the government is going towards the right direction. But as a transgender activist, if we can point out few things that the government can improve on, that is our job as society. And even you mentioned about begging becoming illegal. But in a way, when there are no jobs that are being given to transgenders, and begging is also illegal, then they are forced to sex work. And that can cause even bigger problems. So society also has to start employing transgenders, because transgenders can do everything that a male or a female can. So it's just
what? Imagine you're going to Versova chai coffee to sit and have a coffee, and you see this transgendered women who is working, giving you coffee.
Yeah.
Itself has a huge impact.
Yeah.
Look, if you have someone who's working,
Yeah.
who's doing a living with dignified way,
Dignity. Yeah.
instead of being seeing them at Lokhandwala in the night and this and that. I've seen it, right? So then we don't want to see that, right?
Yeah.
That is what.
So, Natasha, we've spoken about space, we've spoken about society, we've spoken about the government, but just to bring it back to the personal, one thing Karan and I noticed in some of our background reading for this is that the dating world for the transgender community is a strange situation, because there's often this phenomenon of sometimes men being attracted to transgenders, but then they're afraid to marry them, or so there's this stigma and attraction and this and that. So if you could just give us a bigger picture of what has your experience been like when it comes to dating in the transgender community.
Well, I think in today's time, like the current situation that we have with the transgender community. I mean, again, I'll say it's not a community; it's like people. A straight guys with my experience and everything, I will say that a straight guy is ready to date a transgender woman. A straight guy is ready to hang around with her as long as she's possible. She's passable,
Mm.
feminine, she's pretty, she's wearing her 6 inches heels, she's very feminine in the public, all the blues and jazz and
Yeah.
everything.
Mm.
So my fight, I have like dated so many straight men in my life, and I've like nurtured them so nicely with this entire knowledge that it's okay to have a transgendered woman who might not look like that how you want them to look.
Yeah.
But a biological woman has different features, different like aura in them. One can be fat, one can be slim, one can look ugly, one can look everything, but it's a woman. So
Mm.
Yeah.
respect, you know. Beauty comes in various shapes. 5 fingers are not same, so even the transgender women will not be the same, right?
Mm.
So it's
Absolutely.
okay, like the dating sites, of course. Um, I mean, I would say that I think I've had a very, I mean, I've had it lot more easy access to a lot of, people and everything, making good friends. Probably then I realized, for a transgendered women, it's very important to date quite a few guys.
Mm.
Why I'd say because you are even learning your journey.
Mm.
If I'm dating a certain guy, how he has treated me for 2 years, if I was in a relationship, because in my three boyfriends that I've had, one treated me this, so I understood so many things. Second treated me like this, so I understood. The third who treated me, it's okay to have partners whom you understand because every partner teaches you something.
Mm.
If you have had the 6 girlfriends, that's 6 different things that she has taught you and she's gone
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
So it's again a nurture and evolving process. We
Mm.
call
Yeah.
it the new bond of relation. That is exactly I say. And the rest, I know the other women, the other trans women, and I hope people have to come out of the closet to even experience. If transgender women are coming out of the closet, even men has to come out of the closet to experience the
Yeah.
unknown.
As opposed to their fixed ideas of how a woman should be, how a trans woman should be.
The mental notion has to go away.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For our last question, do you have any message or advice to other Natashas like you, whether on a personal note or on a professional front, what can they do to accept themselves and, come out loud and proud like you have?
Is um, there's only one weapon that is the one strong weapon that we have for mankind is not a gun, it's education.
Mm.
So I feel that, charity begins at home. Whatever like nurture begins at home. I say education,
Mm.
if we have proper education, when a child is born, it's okay for let the child to understand the sexuality, who the person is.
Mm.
As they grow, let them nurture.
Yeah.
I say education. So to all the trans sisters or people who are still in the closet and they're scared because of their family and everything, and to their parents as well, it's time that you parents have to be friends with your children and don't be like a boss all the
Yeah.
time. Boss, this bossy thing. I want fingers to come like this, not like this or like this. That is where the disequilibrium happens. There
Right.
has to be a one straight line of equality between everyone. So if
Right.
that comes, even children will come up and say, "Mom, I'm going to date this man or this woman." So even the parents gets to
Right.
know
Yeah.
how beautiful that will be one day. Where parents are like, "I know my son is going to meet this girl, and it's okay."
Mm.
Yeah.
Instead of calling, and where are you? What are you doing? You're doing this, you're doing, like this has been like a life for everyone, right?
Right.
So nurture, education,
Hmm.
and openness. Start
Yeah.
making friends from a very young age for these parents, the
Mm.
children, and
Yeah.
openness of mind. And
Right.
to
Yeah.
everyone over there whoever is going to see this podcast, people who are still, are thinking that question that you said that about the dating side, people try your luck, move from that comfort zone
Yeah.
and see how the world is. We don't know if it'll not be, if we have to buy oxygen in Mars. So yeah,
Right. We have
that's
to
why
put ourselves
life
out.
is going to be costly.
Yeah. Absolutely, we have to put ourselves out there and see what's there in store for us. On that forward looking note, we end today's podcast. Thank you, Natasha, for being on the show. We really enjoyed talking to you, learning from you, and we wish you all the luck for your future projects. Would you like to say any parting words?
Well, I think I want to say a small line from my reading that I've done so far. That is, hold fast your dreams. For if dreams die, life is nothing but a broken winged bird that cannot fly. So live now. Get those wings up. and gear up.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Natasha.
Thank you so much for having me.
To our viewers, thank you so much for watching. Drop in the comment section below, what was some of your key insights from this interview. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, share this with your friends and family. And if you'd like to see more podcasts, then subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. See you all next time. Bye.